To Jim Bergenn now, who is a criminal defense attorney for Shipman and Goodwin. Jim, thanks for joining us. We always enjoy seeing you here. First off, just want to ask you what your immediate reaction to the verdict.
Well, I can't say it was actually a surprise when I realized how much the jury had to find Rittenhouse himself convincing. And the prosecutors didn't focus, as the law requires, on his perspective, and then, as trial practitioners know, on the juror's perspective. They were so excited about their own perspective that they kind of lost their way, and it reminded me of Marcia Clark back in the O.J. days. You really have to be humble to be a good trial lawyer.
And one of the things that happened during that trial and during that emotional testimony is jurors had to weigh if he did in fact fear for his own life. That is a hard thing for prosecutors to prove when you're hearing from the defendant himself.
Yes, and when you start arguing with the defendant and you start arguing with his lawyer, you're just distracting the jury. A very careful, measured cross-examination could have had a different result. But the real issue I think that's driving most people crazy is, what is a 17-year-old walking around with an assault weapon? Well, the law there permits it. Once you permit it, and maybe he did create the chaos and his own risks, but once he's in that situation, if in the moment that he's using the gun, he actually fears for his life, and you've got to get it unanimous by the jurors. You've got to really work with the juror's perspective, not just yell at the kid and yell at his lawyer.
Jim, let's talk about that one bit of video there. The defense felt like they were blindsided by the prosecutors, who trotted out a very high-definition version of a bit of video that the defense had not been provided. Do you think at this point the defense is going to pursue that at all, or are they just going to be happy with this verdict and walk away?
No, there's no possible relief. They've already won. There's nothing better than winning. So, no, that's going to be dropped. And by the way, that does happen. And the real question is, was it intentional? Was it accident? And even if it was accident, was it significant? Those are really hard issues. But the very best prosecutors sometimes slip up because there's so many things going on. And this was one of those things. I don't think they sandbagged them, but it really did work a disadvantage for the defense.
You know, the other thing that we were reporting on was that, MSNBC, the freelance producer who was alleged to have followed the jury bus, is anything going to follow up with that? Because the judge was very upset at the media coverage of this trial.
Yes, no, there's going to be some follow up there. The question really is going to be very tight, like what exactly did he know? What exactly were the rules? It is a problem, but I don't have the specific instructions that were given out to the media. And you guys are supposed to be aggressive, go out and find things, but you're not supposed to interfere with the justice process and put jurors in apprehension. So I understand the judge protecting the jury, and that's got to be a very clear line.
Jim, just one thing I want to ask you. There was some talk about the judge, and especially early on in the case, there was some talk about the judge sort of favoring the defense in this case. Did you see anything like that? What do you think about his conduct during the trial?
Well, it actually reminds me of the judge in the O.J. case. You're not supposed to be taking it all that personally. I think he used the word frightening, and the only thing frightening to me is when a judge is being frightened of people just doing their jobs. I mean, he has a job to do, but he's not supposed to be so thin-skinned. It does happen. They're human beings. And I do think there were a few things that demonstrate a little bit of leaning for the defense, but those things are on the margin. That's not really what his case was about.
All right. Jim Bergenn, Shipman and Goodwin, thank you so much. Always enjoy talking to you. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.